Apparently girls just want to have fun, not Funyuns. Hello again, Chimi listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Chimichanga's Superstar Podcast, brought to you by The Color 2. With me today are two lovely ladies who are part of a clan, a cult, some weird thing in Los Angeles that's developing, and it's kind of got me a little nervous to have them in front of me here, but I'm glad they're here. So, ladies, if you can introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I am Kristaan Hip.
Ashley Roudet.
And what do you two do?
We make comics.
Holy shit, you're in the right place. And this cult, it's like a murderer cult or something like that. Nothing to do with comics?
Similar. It's the Los Angeles Women's Comic Creator League. So we're
a
bunch of ladies that make comics.
Yeah, and because we're a bunch of ladies who meet at the Comic Bug, we call ourselves the Ladybug, because that's a lot easier to say than Los Angeles Women Comic Creator League.
And easy to make a bunch of like little banners and things. And,
yeah.
You know, you don't have to worry so much. What was that 90s movie about the kid in soccer who decided he was going to cross-dress to win the soccer game? Oh, man. Come on, Christian. It'll come back to me later. Anyways, if you are just joining us for the first time, thank you for listening. For those returning, about time you got into this. We're going to be talking a lot about what these ladies have to do, which is, I guess, comic stuff. And any other stuff than comics? Writing, game stuff?
Like, writing good stories is a part of comics that applies to other stuff, like writing game plots and books, but...
Cool.
I mean, just general nerd stuff comes up at the Ladybug meetings.
Any weird food eating competitions?
Oh, there's always cheese, but we don't compete with our cheese.
Yeah, we're recreational cheese eaters.
Yeah.
It's a fun. Cheese is a gateway drug, you know. Eventually you're going to be putting cheese on food. That's dangerous. High in calories... Heart rate.
Don't worry about that.
No? You're going to live forever. Well, go ahead and talk to me how, like, give me some more details about what the Ladybugs do. You're a group of female creators, artists. Is it just comic thread all in all, or is it mostly just artists in general?
I mean, it's, like, we call ourselves Los Angeles Women Comic Creator League, so the people who show up are just mostly women who are into comics, but we do have a member who doesn't like comics and just wants artsy people to hang out with. So we're actually pretty willing to, like, bend the rules in terms of that. We meet every Thursday at the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach from 6 to 9. 9 is when they technically close, but Daniel, the guy who runs the store on Thursdays, is very nice. And I think the latest he's let us stay is until, like, 11:30.
So what you're saying is after 9, the shots come out.
I mean, they come out before 9.
Yeah.
And usually, we normally stick with beer and wine, champagne if we're celebrating something.
Okay.
And we just hang out. Some people will work on their comics or talk about their scripts or what they're working on comic-wise. I know we've been having a lot of tutorials lately where people will all acknowledge, like, I need to work on coloring, and Joey is very good with color.
There needs to be a lot more quality instructional stuff on the internet, I'm going to be honest, because I started podcasting and doing this just because I was really drunk with a coworker one day, and I had no idea what I'm doing. To this exact day, I'm still Googling, how do I? Every edit, every time I publish an episode. So there needs to be a lot more instructional just across the board. So
I mean, on the bright side, you're still, like, trying to figure out how to do stuff, because a lot of people, like, there's that expression, you don't know what you don't know, and so a lot of people don't realize that just because they don't know about something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And so there are people who want to be comic creators who never take the time to learn from professionals, and so it's, like, a little disheartening because so many people want to work for Marvel or DC, but they don't want to sit down and learn about, like, anatomy or perspective or color theory, because they're worried that's going to stop them from being unique and original. And it's really sad to see. And so part of the tutorials is helping people realize, like no one asked for an anatomy tutorial, which is why mine was called the anatomy tutorial that no one asked for. And I basically just laid out the basics of it, of how you have to think about the body in three-dimensional shapes and exaggerate things and understand what's going on under the skin so that you can create the level of quality you would see in a professional comic.
Right.
And if that's not for you, that's fine. You don't need to learn all of the muscles if you just want to do cool, like, Finn and Jake cartoons. But still, like, thinking in three-dimensional shapes will help you. And as just in general, Ladybugs are about helping each other, because, like, a rising tide raises all ships. And I mean, it's nice to, like, help someone and see their comic get better, because it's like, I'm the one accomplishing something because I'm full of myself. And then I also get to see my friends be proud of the work that they made on their own. And it's a nice feeling to have a
A
community.
good, strong, healthy ego is good for professional work because that means you're going to be better than everyone else, and no one can say anything about it.
I feel like it's like finding a balance between being full of yourself so you can sell your project and be like, everyone, go read my amazing comic Bounty Hunter Space Besties. It's really good. And then away from the public eye being like, I need to work on this, and the character development is off here, I need to work on my perspective in every panel. And so, like, you need to constantly, like, be happy with the work you're putting out, because that's an accomplishment that you're putting out work there. A lot of people don't get to that point. And then also look for ways to grow.
When you're in the public eye, you are Robert Downey Jr. When you're at home or by yourself or in your office or at your desk, you're just losing your shit with how many things you have to accomplish. Well, I can relate to that a little bit.
Yeah.
So how did you guys get started with Ladybugs, and how did Ladybugs form in general in the first place?
I think there was a meetup group online, so a lot of people joined through a meetup. But it's
Like a Facebook kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mom.
Her artist name is Mom, or
She's
she's
really
Mom
nice.
Comics. And there's like a cool story behind how she picked that name. Because a lot of people would like look down on her and be like, oh, that's cute. You're making a comic? Let me look at your adorable comic, cute comic girl. What's your name? Mom? You have to call me Mom right now. And suddenly she has like authority over them, and they'd be a little intimidated.
Oh my god,
And
that's
so it was
ingenious.
like a good way to subvert like the whatever like power dynamic, air quotes, is going on. And so it's like funny. And I think when I first joined the Ladybugs, like calling her mom is also still appropriate because she's this warm, loving, supportive person that you can go to whenever you need help.
Mm-hmm.
And just like she's just the best. She's mom. She's mom.
I like it.
But Mom started the group with
Nicole Robinson.
Nicole.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there was a Sketchy Bug group, which was co-ed, and meets at the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach on Wednesdays at the same time. And it's kind of a testicle festival. There'd usually only be 3 or 4 girls there. And so when you're like 2 or 5% of the room, it's harder to talk about important things like feminism. And when things happen on the internet, we all probably know what nerd rage is. And so like the Batgirl killing joke cover came up at the meetings, and the Minara Spider-Woman cover came up at the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to be like 5% of the room, but representing 50% of the population. And so having a women-only group where just nerd girls can get together and not have to worry about just people getting angry for unrelated reasons or people not listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't like about the Sketchy Bug being bad. It's about the internet being bad, and that like it's hard to be comfortable in like mixed gender settings.
The internet's kind of the satire parody version of the real world.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of has the word I can't say ever. Jesus, so professional. Anonymity. They have a mask. The internet knows what I'm saying. Fuck me. Anyway, everyone just kind of throws out the worst part of themselves because there's no consequences at that point.
Yeah.
Therefore, you get the young little 15-year-old shit who's going to look at a group of all females and they're going to be like, oh, so many boobs! All that kind of jizz.
Yeah. So like, the Sketchy Book is like pretty great, and since Ladybugs formed, they've been making more strides to be more like female friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're interested in making comics and can't make it on Thursdays, or if you're a man, which means you cannot become a ladybug, then I would recommend the Sketchy Bug group, because there's a lot to be said for just hanging out with a group of other creators in terms of lighting a fire under your ass.
Okay. Well, I do feel a little left out, so I have started my own group, Underground. It's the most original group in the world. We call ourselves the He-Man Woman Haters. It's only me for now because no one seems to think this is a legit thing that'll survive in this day and age. So the dumbness being said, you guys have established yourself pretty well so far, I'm guessing, throughout LA. Are you guys kind of like branching to other areas, Riverside County, Inland Empire?
One of our ladybugs moved to Portland and started her own group, which is really cool because I think the last meeting they had, Kelly Sue the Comic was there.
Who?
She was one of the creators for the Bitch Planet.
Yeah, she wrote Bitch Planet, Pretty Deadly, the Captain Marvel comics,
Sweet.
Ghost. She's amazing, and she's one of those female comic creators who's very openly feminist and talks about it all the time. And so, like, understanding the culture of comics and its history, as a woman, it is hard to, like, want to be a professional in that world. So seeing a woman who's openly talking about, like, equal treatment and opportunities for women is really encouraging, because she's not getting bashed down, she's getting celebrated for it.
Sweet. What was that first title you said that she does?
Oh, Bitch Planet.
Bitch Planet. I'm going to bookmark that
Oh,
one. Just on title alone, I'm already attracted to it.
It's so great, because she wrote the Captain Marvel books for Marvel Comics, and people were upset because initially she wore kind of a bathing suit, and Kelly Sue DeConnick asked someone to redesign the costume, and the new costume she's wearing pants. And there was a lot of like nerd outrage about this, and how she's being an angry feminist.
I remember that outrage very well.
Yeah, and so
I've been a Marvel fanatic since I was a kid. And Captain Marvel actually only came back into my perception back when they did New Avengers and they brought her back. But I was kind of wondering, like, is this dominatrix woman or something like that? All black and kind of like thigh highs. Never really appealed to me as a character because I couldn't relate to her for one. The other part about it, and this is coming just strictly from a dumb guy's perspective, I also had no fucking clue who she was because they didn't go in detail about any of her personality, any of her character traits. Ever since they changed her costume, though, they've also focused a lot more on her traits, which I'd like to think that maybe by desexualizing her, they had no choice but to focus on the person who's now a badass who has replaced Captain America in a lot of the fields of the comics right now, since he's now, I guess, hailing Hydra up the ass.
Yep. So Kelly Sue DeConnick was called an angry feminist for giving her pants, and she said, "You want an angry feminist? I will give you angry feminist." And she wrote Bitch Planet, which is about a dystopian future where the patriarchy is very real, and when women are non-compliant, like being like overweight or getting too old for their husbands, they are shipped off to another planet, which is basically jail for non-compliant women, and they call it Bitch Planet.
Bitch Planet.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the women on this planet would embrace that into a different context, to be honest.
I think a couple of characters seem to...
Oh, it's great. Because there are women who are just, like, blatantly defying beauty standards, but very, like, comfortable with who they are. And it's kind of like an exploitation, like, heist jailbreak film, but it's the people who are being exploited are women, and they're also not being exploited. It's really good. So she's just kind of turning the genre on its head, and it's really cool.
For the record, for everyone listening, we will in fact be putting the links to where you can find these, order these, or read these, and all comics involved below. That means more work for me, damn it. So here's another thing we'll go into real quick. Everyone who listens to my show is pretty much used to me just being a drunken dumbass. Everyone who comes on being a drunken dumbass. And yeah, fuck, I tried to perform an exorcism on the show once. Didn't work, by the way. Backfired. So a lot of them listening right now are going to be sitting like, what the fuck are you doing? This is supposed to make me laugh and giggle, and now all of a sudden you're just talking the word feminism over and over. And I'm sure some of them think the F word, the other F word.
I mean, if you're really upset about the word feminism, chances are it's something you could benefit from. A lot of the people who are anti-feminist are usually people who are kind of outcasts of society for not fitting into the generic mental image of what a guy is supposed to be like. So most guys, either they've worked very, very hard to cultivate that image of drinking a lot of beer and having like strong muscles and being a masculine man, but being like funny and deep down being sensitive because that's what their entire life they've been told the way they're supposed to be. And as feminists, we're challenging that in the sense that we're saying you can be whoever you want. A lot of people think feminism means angry women who just want to ruin your life because they hear it from other people and they want to be in the right crowd with those other people, so they'll adopt those beliefs without questioning them first.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, feminism is about letting people make the choices they want. So if women want to wear skirts, then, like, by all means do it. Yeah. But if you want to wear, like, not heels to work, you should be able to do that. And at the same time, guys should be able to wear skirts and not be mocked for it. Because the heart of that is that by wearing a skirt, you're like a woman, and that's bad.
My assistant actually can attest. Just last Friday was Professor Elliott's birthday party, and I walked around wearing a sheet the entire night, and I had never done that before, and I honestly can say I'm considering doing away with pants. I got to get in contact with Off Kilter Kilt some more and see if I could just like buy out their stock, because that was world changing for me. Well, I know a lot of people use the term feminazi, especially for those who get too aggressive with whether or not they're actually making a point as per wanting to argue. Do you think that's a term that's worth using, or should that be a term we should just shit on and get rid of?
I don't like that term because it makes it sound like feminism is something negative.
Right. It could relate quality feminism to the same thing that they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, like most insults, it doesn't really tackle the heart of the problem. Mm-hmm. And so if I call someone like a dumb bitch because, I don't know, she forgot to turn something in on time at work, and the root of that problem is we don't have the proper organizational system, then I'm just kind of prolonging the problem by not addressing the root cause. Or, like honestly, I feel like insults in general are bad because it makes people get defensive and they're automatically going to stop listening to what you say.
See, that's why I stopped insulting people I don't like. Actually, I completely. However, my friends and my loved ones, you can guarantee, I tell them to fuck themselves, insert this to your rectum forcefully, enjoy choking on your beer, you dumb son of a bitch. And that's usually like whenever I'm saying thank you, or I love you, or thank you so much for helping me when I got too hungover and you took care of me and I puked on your shoes. So I agree with what you're saying in the sense of fighting back isn't going to work, especially in considering giving bad titles, which is why I bring that up. I've heard that so much. I think a good friend of mine, Chimi of Been Better Comics, he is very much against those kind of slangs. And he was on my show once. I think I used that term, and I just saw him wince. Ooh. And he's one of the biggest feminists I know, and I love him. In fact, if you girls haven't seen his comic, definitely check out his stuff. He's really cool. It might be worth teaming up with him at some point. But so that being said, as an artist on the male side of the spectrum, where can the dudes rally to really assist in what seems like a never-ending battle for not only feminism, but overall equality?
I think just thinking about female characters when you're creating a female character, making sure that you're putting in that time to make them well-rounded, and when you're
not like curvy rounded, by the way,
like
people.
Like dimensional thought out people. Like, don't write about tropes or stereotypes. Write about people that you know in real life. And then there are a lot of tips that I've heard for this. One is after writing your story, go back and check what percentage of your characters are male versus female. Because usually it's about, like, in the worst comics, the only women are mothers and girlfriends. In most comics, it's usually there are token females in male crowds, like 17% of crowd scenes are women, and 30% of speaking characters are women. So just going back and seeing which characters you can change to be female without changing the story is a good thing to get in touch with.
Cool.
You can also apply that to, like, ethnicity or sexual orientation, anything like that. Just adding diversity creates richness in your comic, creates complexity. So embracing that would be beneficial for comic creators and readers.
And there's also, like, going into it, there's no shame in accidentally having a cast of all white men, because a lot of people just write based on, like, gut instincts, and instincts kind of tell you to repeat what you've already seen. And in some cases, that's good. A lot of writers will mimic the classic 3-act structure without knowing what it is, because we've seen it so many times. But in some cases, that's bad, because it forces you to, like, only have token females, and the token female is, like, attractive, but has no idea. And so it's important to examine those gut instincts with a critical eye, because sometimes what seems like an instinct is actually regurgitated garbage. And we all regurgitate garbage, but as a writer, it's your job to take responsibility for that and try to weed as much of it out from your story as possible.
Groovy. That being said, now that my assistant's freaking out over this, what does that say, Destiny? This is my favorite podcast you've done so far. Okay, I approve of this. Dead air. I made dead air. Projects. What are there any other upcoming projects? You mentioned anthology and manthology. Details on those, and maybe anything else that's coming down the road. I see smiles, so I'm assuming you're bored already.
Should we talk about the manthology first, the secret anthology?
Okay.
For the record, when you first started saying manthology, I thought you were going to stop at manthong, and I was like, wait a minute, you're just making that?
I mean, that's going to be in there. That's going to be in there.
You should have it, like a little baggie, and like in between the middle, just open up and just like, here's this, and then,
that could be a giveaway at the
and then have a QR code, so that way when they take the picture, just scan the QR code so they know where to post it, and there you go. Hashtag manthongology.
Aww. Cool. I'm gonna look into that, getting specially, like, screen printed man thongs.
You realize that all this means is now you're gonna go to make it a party in 10. There's gonna be nothing but dongs just everywhere, right?
That's okay. We want men to be reading the manthology, because a lot of the scripts that I've seen that have had a lot of, like, negative female tropes in them were written by men. And I know it's not because they hate women, it's just because, again, they're repeating the things they've seen growing up and don't realize that what they're doing is problematic. And so part of the heart behind the manthology is just kind of pointing out that these tropes are a thing, and then gender bending them so it's, like, funny and weird. And so it's not like you're a terrible person for doing this. It's just like look at how ridiculous this is. Can we just acknowledge how weird it is that, like, if a guy is wearing armor that looks like a lady bikini, that's weird. But it's also weird when women do it. Come on, you guys. Come on.
I have a lot of friends in the cosplay community. I'm surprised that none of them have actually, especially the dudes, I'm surprised none of them have actually done like the female style WoW armor. Oh my god. I just thought that would be hilarious. And I'm sure my assistant here is thinking of the same person whenever I mention this. But the concept of that is, you know, build like the exact armor from World of Warcraft, but not the one that the dudes wear, because they're completely different. You know, they have the skirts hiked up, or practically a thong, or whatever it is. Put dudes out there, that one, I'd interview that guy.
I think, like,
or make them spar in those outfits and see how protective they are.
I'm pretty sure it would just be coming off and you just see flapping balls.
That's true.
Yeah. But I think another advantage of the Manthology is a lot of the stories are actually really guy positive. So
okay. So you're not going to bash us into a hole?
No, I mean, we want guys to enjoy reading it because, again, they're like a large part of our target audience. So there are ones where it'll gender bend a typical trope to point out, like, why can't guys have magical boy adventures and fight evil with the power of truth and love? I think the skimpy armor story we ended up receiving is, like, also guy positive because the guy shows up in ladies' armor and his friends make fun of him for it, and he's like, guys, no. I'm going to run you through why this armor is great and looks great on me and why I love it. And by the end of the story, you will have a change of heart.
My dexterity is through the roof now.
Yeah.
I can wrap my ankles behind my head during combat. So when's this coming out? When's this going to be released?
I mean, we're in the submission process right now. Okay. So until the end of June, we'll be accepting pitches for the Manthology. So if you want to pitch, go to ladybugcomics.org. And near the top of the page, there's an anthology button. And so you can find out more about our submission guidelines, and there's a little button to submit your idea. And so as it's 4 or 8 pages, or 1 page if you're doing a pinup, and just the idea is you take a trope that you're tired of seeing, or that you don't see applied to men enough, and you gender bend it, and make it into like a full, thought-out 4 or 8 page story.
So, ladybugcomics.org. All right, I will send everyone I know to you. I guarantee some of them will be bad. So I have an idea for a comic character, and this is actually a villain only. I've been thinking about this one, and I'm going to unleash it to you. So instead of actually abolishing the term feminazi, I think we should make a villain feminazi. But not in the typical sense that everyone's going to think. Because everyone's going to see the villain, she's going to be standing up tall, she calls herself out feminazi, and everyone's going to be like, oh no, she's after men. No, in fact, she's a Nazi. She's not after men. She could care less about that. She's after the Jews, just like all Nazis. Then Captain America can come in and fight her. I think that would be how you do it. Oh be realistic to the term feminazi. She's the female Nazi.
I am a history teacher, and I took that a totally different way. I thought you were going to make her like a Nazi that was promoting all the like traditional gender roles that the Nazis forced on women, which would also be hilarious.
There is that. What about any events, any locations, any what are those things called? Where people join and they all touch each other in weird ways. No, that's not
initiations. Like
well, that's
rituals.
That's absolutely the total opposite of what I'm talking about. But is there a hazing ritual to be involved here now?
Not
I'm curious.
That we can talk about.
Yeah, we can't.
All right, hang on. Boop boop boop. All right, we're not recording. We're not recording now. You can let us know. Oh, God. No, conventions. Are there any convention you guys are doing? Why did I say touch everyone touch each other? What kind of conventions am I thinking of? Okay, we all know what kind of conventions I'm thinking of.
There are going to be ladies at Comic-Con. We have applied for a panel, and so we might be having a panel about creating a comic creator community. And then we might also have a signing with Prism Comics. Those are both in the air, so it's not guaranteed, but when they are, we're definitely going to post about it on all of our social media and on our website.
Cool. I think I'm going to be at Comic-Con. I have no idea what I'm doing at Comic-Con. I wasn't ready to go. In fact, I think this is a soft announcement to all of my listeners. You guys have never seen me at a panel or a booth at Comic-Con, so, or any convention whatsoever, but I guess I'm starting at Comic-Con, so... Yeah, I've done everything ass backwards since I started this gimmick, so why not just keep it going? So anyway, if you're going to Comic-Con, you might find me there. I'll post if that's actually happening on the social medias, so that means you should follow the social medias. Stop ignoring me, love me, embrace me. I need your support. I'm needy. What else have we got going on here? One thing I want to talk about, and I love talking to any comic creators that come on. My old friends have come on. I've asked them the same question over and over again, but I'd like to get your interpretation of working independent as comics versus mainstream, such as Marvel, DC, or Image, What's your honest opinion of the two differences? Because I understand that it's kind of, I'll be honest, I'm talking about my own kind here. It's a boys' club and a half working that way. So what would you say outside of just that alone the difference is?
I feel like there's freedom to explore all sorts of different topics and create your characters the way you want to, which is really cool. You also have freedom to like work with anyone you want to. Like, for example, Barbara Kiesel edited our anthology.
The Ladybug anthology, which we have not talked about yet.
And it was so amazing working with her. I learned so much, and I didn't have time to do all of her edits because there were like a lot and I had a deadline. But I learned an immense amount from her, and I think if I was working for one company, it would make it difficult to kind of jump around and work with those people. So I think that was a cool opportunity working independently.
Cool.
I think independent and working for the big two both have their own like pluses and minuses. I mean, working for DC and Marvel, you'd have a living wage, which is cool. If you want to be an independent creator, it usually takes about 10 years to build the necessary fan base to support yourself. Which means,
by support yourself, you mean still eating ramen?
Maybe. Yeah, it depends on where you live. And so people could feasibly live in Los Angeles if they're working for DC or Marvel, versus working as independent creators. The first advice I'd give you is to get out of LA and go someplace where rent and food and all of the other expenses are cheap.
Wait, are you telling me LA is an expensive place to live? This is news to me. I can't believe it. LA, the place of no culture or no anything to do. It's so boring.
Just go somewhere
there.
else and look at the price tags, and you will be converted.
No, trust me. I avoid LA like the plague. I especially hate driving in LA. I could tell you horror stories about how many times I've just enraged myself in the driving. Went in to get a cup of coffee so I can calm myself down. You get more enraged by how the coffee costs $19,000. In fact, I think one place you had to take out a loan for a latte. That blew my mind. They needed a credit check beforehand, and I'm just trying to get my caffeine fix. So, oh well. Just dig through the trash and hope someone didn't finish the cup. So, the Ladybug anthology, you mentioned, that's out?
Yes, it's already out.
Okay.
You can order it through our website. You can get a digital version for $8 and a physical version that's about $20 after shipping. And it's basically just a collection of stories from our members. There was no theme to it, which... Like, as an editor, I love anthologies without a theme because, like,
because all anthologies have themes.
But, like, all anthology submissions try to convince you that the theme is there, even though it's a story they came up with before the anthology was announced. Mm-hmm. So, I really, like, Ladybug anthology was really fun to put together because I couldn't be like, hey, I'm sorry, your comic doesn't have ladybugs in it, and I'm just wondering why, because that's in the name of, so it's just a bunch of stories, and it kind of shows what, like, these women in our group create when we tell them to create whatever they want. And so you get to see the huge range in our interests, because most people are starting to come around in terms of having women in comics, but they think we should only do comics for kids, because women and kids are great together, and only with each other. So if you read through it, you'll see stuff that's kid-friendly, and you'll also see stuff that's, like, dystopian future, the world is ending. And so there's like a huge range in it, which I love.
It's quite an interesting cover you got going here. It's got 4 ladybugs, almost like hybrid human ladybugs, doodling and drinking and having a good time here. Who's the artist here?
That's Angelica McLaughlin, who is incredible and amazing, and we've gotten a lot of interest just from the cover, which is how you know she's done a really good job.
Are these characters in general, or just made for the cover? Or
they're
these
just made
you
for
ladies?
The cover. I think after we got the sketches in, I made a joke about giving them the hairstyles of the various people in the group, but playing favorites probably wouldn't be a good call. So I think
I always suggest to play favorites. That way you know who likes who, and that way you know who to execute at the end of the day. You got to snuff some people out. I'm sorry, it's good business to kill people off, especially when you know you like the others more. Sidestepping a little bit, but the election-y thingy coming up Tuesday. Which I swear to God, I know what that's called. I just, everyone who listens to my show knows me. Are you two voting, or do you two decide not to vote? Do you think voting
I'm
is...
voting. Yeah.
Dare I ask who you're voting for? Dun dun dun, on the spot. You are allowed to plead the fifth.
I feel the burn,
Feel the burn? There's a cream for that.
No. It's good. I like it.
I don't want to say because I'm a teacher and I'm directing my students to listen to this. And I like to stay unbiased. I'm a history teacher, so. But I'm definitely voting. It's very important to vote. get your voice heard. But...
So we shouldn't do a segment later about dildos? Because there's
maybe I won't direct my students to this.
Yeah.
Maybe say that I'm feeling the burn.
Okay.
Maybe.
But I don't need cream.
I was with my girlfriend at her family's for Memorial Day the other day. And one of her cousins came in and sat down. And she's like, I'm legal to vote now. This is my first election. And my heart sunk and thought, what a election to land on for your first one. This has been a shit show the whole damn time. Poor kid. She's going to be so dismayed from actually voting.
I feel like at the same time, though, it's going to be easier to get kids to vote because you could point it at Donald Trump and play them clips of him just saying anything. And people be like, yeah, okay, my voice matters. I need to do something so that...
Most Trump supporters I've known are headline junkies. They read the headline and not the meat of the articles. That's it. So far. Now, again, this is that I've met, that I've known. I'm not depicting across the country, but you know who you are and you know who you shouldn't vote for.
Or not diversifying your news, where you get your news. That's important.
Yeah. I have a few people who told me that they have a specific YouTube show that they get the news from. I was like, so you only get one opinion. No, it's the news. No, it's an opinion. If one person gives you the news, that's their opinion and their filter of the news. Just like anyone, if anyone ever comes to me for news, you're idiots. I will intentionally spoil the wrong news for you. I love giving false information to see where it goes, and then finding at the end and saying, hey guys, so here's this dated point in time that I said this for you, and you all took it too far. It's like Banana Phone, or no, Banana Phone something else. The telephone game, yeah. Banana Phone, wow! I did something fun there. But no, I have a bad feeling about this election all around. I have a feeling that we're gonna get a lot more drama than we need from it, but it's no different than the rest of the damn world.
I think, it is, I think, a little bit more accessible to younger audiences, though, because I remember in high school hearing about the election and a lot of the stuff was going over my head, but it's very easy to be like, okay, so this guy is very clearly saying, like, just blatantly racist things, and so you understand that, like, Donald Trump speaks at a 4th grade level. Like, someone has analyzed his speech patterns and discovered that it's accessible to 4th graders.
A very wealthy, self-ego, crazy, big head pervert 4th grader.
I mean, like, they can be, like, humble and, like, nice people, but, like, understand what he's saying is the important thing. Whereas Bernie Sanders speaks at a 12th grade level, and then Hillary speaks at a 10th grade level, so she's a little bit more accessible. Well, and so...
only Bernie Sanders has the ability to summon animals at a will, though.
That's true.
That was actually probably the one thing that swayed me the most before
I really God.
I started
his face when it happened.
It's kind of like, yep, that just happened. But that leads me to wonder. We have two other major runners right now. So we got Hillary and the Oompa Loompa. If they were to summon an animal, whether they were meaning to or not, what animal do you think either would summon?
I think Hillary would get a tiger.
A tiger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
for Hillary, I thought an octopus would just randomly land on the stage, like a big one, just like thud.
Like a giant, I feel like a giant squid.
Not a giant squid. There has to be room for her. I don't want it to crush her. I think it would just like fall from out of nowhere, just thud, squid. And then, of course, she's got a lot of money in her campaign. They would find a great way to twist that. But that's just what comes to mind when I think she's going to summon an animal. I don't have a reason why.
I guess we could also think about like what would be a good Hillary pun, because you got Bernie Sanders, like. I can't think of anything for Hillary, though.
No. Mountain lion, cougars. Cougar. Let's be honest, she is a Clinton. And she has one very, very, very important thing to fulfill. The legacy of the Clintons. She has to get a young Mr. S. I've found a lot of the memes right now talking about, what's her name? Lewinsky. They said they would vote for her because she got the job done. I disagree with that. I'm hoping that she gets the ultimate revenge and she just kind of gets caught with like some studly dude underneath the Oval Office desk just one morning.
I think like Monica Lewinsky has been coming up a lot because she did that really cool TED Talk about dealing with social media. Because I think she was one of the first people to really be raised by the internet.
I missed that entirely.
It's really good. I'd recommend it. You could Google Monica Lewinsky TED Talk, and it's just talking about like what it's like to have something that seems really normal and personal be like put on the internet. Like personal phone conversations with her best friend were recorded by the FBI and then made available to the public.
Which is bullshit.
And so like for years after that, she's been dealing with the consequences of it. And so just seeing that there's a human on the other side of these interactions and like seeing the other side of it, this is the first time I've heard someone else's opinion or the first-hand account of what it's like to be that person that everyone on the internet hates.
Well, we live in a good time where that can be a thing now.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. But for the record, everyone, actually add TED Talk when you Google this. You'll get a bunch of dumb memes otherwise, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Oh, or her handbag line, which apparently is a thing.
Okay.
She has a handbag line, too?
I suppose.
Whoa. Damn, someone turned something around in her life.
Yes.
So now we have Trump, though. What would Trump summon?
I feel like he'd just mess it up and get an Oompa Loompa.
Oh, that's true.
No, I think actually the Oompa Loompa, I think, like, because he's a little bit of a bigger guy, I think he actually has a tumor that is an Oompa Loompa growing from his body. And that's why he's orange. It's not actually a fake tan. It's just he's infected. A patoo bird. I'm being told a patoo bird. I guess I'm supposed to look up a patoo bird because I don't know. Thank you for that. Now I have to be more intelligent than I was before. Jesus Christ, that's a poodoo bird? Okay, officially, how is that poodoo bird? Okay, everyone needs to Google a patu. Everyone needs to Google a patu bird. It looks like it's completely strung out in methamphetamines. I'm on crack!
All the mess.
All the mess. Yeah, so that's mine. I guess patu bird's winning though, because that was pretty fucking crazy. So back to you guys real quick. I'm noticing there is quite the list pictures, but listed pictures of people on your team here. Is this just like the echelon of higher ups? Do you have kind of like a tier of like, we are the masters, you are the minions?
We're not that organized.
Yeah, that's a list of the people who are organized enough to send us a photo of themselves and a brief description for the website. And so that's how we decided who does and does not get to be on the website. And so members, if you're listening to this and want to be on the website but aren't, email mom.
Email mom. Not your mom. Mom. Email mom. Mom. Not your mom. Mom from Ladybug Mom. At cartoon, ladybugcomics.org. I almost did cartoon.
I think we have a Gmail account, ladybugcomics@gmail.com.
There, y'all have it. Email state. So I have another random question to you, and I accidentally closed the image because I'm so goddamn professional. Filling airtime. Oh my god, I misspelt it. It's taking even more time. Just making noise now. Jesus, come on, dude. This gentleman right here, could he, by any chance ever, be a ladybug?
Oh, is that Ladybeard?
That is Ladybeard from Japan.
We love him.
I actually just announced to a lot of my friends, I will be going kind of like doing some traveling stuff and doing some stuff around the world. And if I ever land in Japan, that is the person who I will seek out to be my guest on Chimi in Japan is Ladybeard. Because, I'm sorry, anyone who, because that's not for Japan. This Ladybeard was Ladybeard in Australia. Let me get that through everyone's head. Ladybeard wore a mini skirt and a bikini top with his beard and pigtails in Australia. The land where you're supposed to wrestle alligators and say things like dingo and stuff all the time.
The land where they have spiders that eat snakes.
Right? The epitome of manliness is being able to wear a mini skirt and wrestle people in it. I guess I have a different way of looking at the world. I like it. What about anything else? Any other books you got going on? Personal projects. What do you do personally on your own things in your own times?
Well, we got the Secret Anthology, which is through the Sketchy Bug group.
Secret Anthology.
Don't tell anyone. It's
okay.
The Secret Anthology.
You're on the internet.
But Ashley and I actually did a story together for that one.
It's called Slugger, and it's basically a kid coming out to her parents and like dreading it, and then I won't spoil the ending for you.
Why?
Because
you need to buy the Secret Anthology to find out how it ends, and it will be available in September. So there's a bit of a wait. I think actually the arts is due this weekend today, so I expect a lot of emails at like 11:59. And so it's all secrets, and the secrets people keep and protect, and it's a wide variety of stories again. So there's something for everyone, and we'll probably do more chatting it up when the time comes for its release.
Well, everyone definitely go buy that, but just now that I got everyone to buy it, I'm a podcaster. You're asking me to give you money. is there something else we could work out here? Could I like feed you like pizza or something? I can make like a really cheap. They have these 99-cent microwave pizzas. just share with. No, I'm kidding.
If you contribute to an anthology,
you get a free copy
for free.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Create some comics.
Free stuff is good. What about this other one? Bounty Hunter Space Besties, which I had in my mind and did not read off of someone else's.
Oh, that is my webcomic, which launched exactly a month ago on Cinco de Mayo. It is about two bounty hunters who are best friends in space. All they want in the world is the respect of their peers and coworkers, and they try to get that by always like trying to uphold the greater good and do what's right. And so in the first 20 pages, which is already up, you see that how they do that and how that does the exact opposite for them. They're very, very determined to have it both ways of being good people and respected. Mm-hmm. And so that's really the overlying theme of the story. It's on like Webtoons and Tapastic and my website, bountyhunterspacebesties.com. And it's beautiful and amazing and everyone should read it.
So are they in fact besties like something from the show Friends, or are they just like genuinely like what real besties are and just
like
keep cussing? They
just
cuss each other out whenever they do well by each other.
They love each other unconditionally, and they just want to get friend married, which
friend
is
married?
a thing.
That's
apparently.
a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's talk on this one. Friend married. How do you friend marry?
It's like you're such good friends that you want to like make sure you spend the rest of your life together, and that like it's like a platonic marriage basically. And
so it's friend trapment.
It's not trapment though, because you want to be there.
Well, no. The person I'm considering forcing to stay in my life forever doesn't know that I'm going to do this. Is that okay?
No.
Oh.
And it's like both people actively want to do it, and it's like a celebration of friendship.
What if I got Professor Elliot extremely drunk one night, and he wanted to then, and then afterwards...
It doesn't sound like he's in a position to consent to this kind of thing. He's
Oh.
extremely drunk.
That consent word again.
Yeah.
I guess it's important.
It is.
Oops. Alright, so I'm going to actually have to woo him and make him like me enough to friend marry me.
Yep.
Shit! I guess that puts work in and stuff. Oh well. Friend married. How common is that right now?
Not.
I don't think it's very common.
The only reason I know about it is my friend was telling me about a movie in China about a woman who was cursed so that she would die if she didn't live her life as a man for the first 26 years. And so she's 25, and she saves a guy's life, and everyone's like, you guys are both dudes and should get friend married as a thank you for saving his life.
Is this like a really twisted version of the frog prince or something?
I don't know, but
you gotta tap in and find your inner dude love, and all of a sudden you got the beautiful wife you're gonna get. Is that what this is gonna turn into?
No idea. And maybe that'd be good though. That could be an anthology piece.
Could you imagine the confusion of that guy? The guy who decides, okay, I'm into chicks, but this dude, my bro, I'm just into him in a way I can't describe. Poof, woman. Well, now I'm confused again.
Isn't that part of the plot from She's the Man?
Oh my god, I forgot about that movie. That was actually very confusing to me because I was too young when I saw it, and that was the first time I think I saw big screen breasticles. That flash scene to show, I'm a woman! Oh. I'm just gonna go ahead and not think this through. I'm too young, I think. And I remember telling myself, I'm too young, I need to wait and come back and watch it again. And then I watched it again, I was like, oh, still a good movie, but better the first time. Alright, so we got the besties. Any other projects?
I'm working on a webcomic with one of the ladybugs, Megan. Is it her artist name, or is it just
her artist name is Zombie Teddy.
Zombie Teddy?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice.
So you can find her, I think, on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Patreon.
Cool.
Just follow her on Patreon. Yeah, that's the only one that matters.
Yeah, you should follow her on Patreon.
Follow on Patreon, because, money's good. Money's really good.
So I'm working on a webcomic with her, and then...
Do you have a title for the webcomic yet?
Right now it's Relativity, but I want to make sure it's not too young.
What's the premise behind it? Can you give us a little pitch?
It's a person who, for whom time does not behave itself. So, like,
ooh, naughty, behave kind of thing?
Well, like, this kid is in class, and they basically have a slow motion day. So math class is taking 4 hours, whereas for everyone else it's taking 1. And it's really taking an hour, but for that person in their mind it's taking forever. Or like at one point they fall off their skateboard and they're midair for like almost a whole day.
Well, that would suck.
Yeah, pretty scary having to look at the ground.
I wouldn't be scared of it. I'd just be bored. I'd be sitting there, come on! Break my teeth already!
So we're playing with that idea. And then for the Ladybug anthology, I made a comic called Guerrero, and it's about a Chamorro teenager who gets superpowers from her ancestors and becomes a badass. And issue 1 should be coming out. That was issue 0 for the anthology, and issue 1 should be coming out towards the end of the summer. So we'll put that on a website called GuerreroComic.com.
Nice. Well, because I need to fill airtime, I'm going to go ahead and fulfill a promise. As last week, you all remember, I did say that Professor Elliot would be getting a chunk of my episode because of a bet I lost. So I get to name it, and he gave me a list of names of such like articulate, wonderful words of wisdom, and I'm just saying, bullshit. Smart shit, Professor Elliot. So, as always, Elliot's back. Talk into the mic, you
Talking
smart...
into the mic. Hello.
Anyways. So, you have your smart shit list for the day. So, asshole, what did you bring to the table? Oh, by the way, let me introduce you.
Yes.
The Ladybug ladies, this is Professor Elliot, who
Ladybug
can be found,
ladies.
as always,
Hello.
at Professor Elliot on YouTube. Or
I recently
.com.
learned that ladybugs have the highest known STD rate among insects.
That's-
That we know of.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that during winter to stay warm, they like to cuddle a lot.
Now we know.
Yeah.
They're just horny and unprotected.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
I am never licking a ladybug.
So, today, I've brought along 4 images taken at the Sex Machines Museum in Prague.
Ooh.
Just 4 different things that I found interesting.
Should I like get the lube?
We could do a countdown.
A countdown.
Yeah. It's maybe top 4.
All right. Top 4 sex things that Professor found at the sex place.
Yeah, at the sex place.
Yeah.
All right. Number 1, we've got the anti-masturbation device.
Anti-masturbation
device. So this is early 20th century. All right. So what we've got here is a wooden box.
Jesus Christ, that looks like it's intended to execute a prisoner.
It does look like that, doesn't it? You've got a little bell that can be triggered electrically. You plug it into the wall. You strap this little thing.
Wait, what is that red thing with the hole in the middle?
That red thing with the hole in the middle. That's a little strap that you put over your son's Wilson.
Cock.
Yeah. And if it grows in size, it triggers the bell in the parents' room so the parents can go in and yell at him. Isn't that pleasant?
I just put that around my toe or something.
And just
What stops a kid from taking it off?
good question, and I don't know. Probably nothing.
How informative.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's something anyone would want to involve with their children. Yeah. Number 2.
Hang on.
Before
we go on to number 2.
Before we go on to
What if
number
it's
2?
too small already? What if it's a really endowed young man who's just now every night crying, saying, Mommy, Daddy, why do you hate me? Because you're a horrible masturbator.
Disappointing situation.
This is why we need feminism.
Yeah.
This
because
is why we need feminism.
strangely enough, everyone, if you're listening to this, feminism would prevent young boys from not being able to masturbate. Yeah, I know.
That's what's going on.
I blew your fucking mind with that, didn't I? Ha. Anyways, alright. Number 2 of
Number
the sex
2.
things that he found at the sex place.
Hand-cranked vibrator.
Okay, I shit you not. That looks exactly like an item my grandmother had in the kitchen.
Yeah, it looks like something you'd
For,
cut pizza with.
Yeah, your camping needs, when electricity goes out, you're not stuck.
So does
you
that
never
mean-
need the batteries?
So what you're showing us is it has a handle on the back,
It's got a
and it has
handle
a
on the
hand
back.
crank in the middle,
And then
and a dildo on the other end. Does that twist? Does that pulsate?
it,
What
just,
does it do?
it just vibrates.
Okay.
It just vibrates.
Just vibrates.
And
So
it's
when you turn the
like-
crank, it vibrates.
It's becoming a hip new thing to go off the grid and not use electricity for extended periods of time.
Right.
So young
This-
hipsters.
So you just
might
found the
know shit.
hipster dildo.
Yeah.
Hipster dildo.
The
There it
hipster
is.
vibrator.
Brilliant.
If it's loud though, because hipsters tend to live in like.
I think if you get enough WD-40, it should be good. Which, by the way, for the record, the WD-40 is for the device, not for you. Not lube for the human body.
No.
Yeah,
That
be
is a
careful.
bad
You don't-
idea. That is a
Yes.
bad
Yep.
idea. Don't want to do that.
Okay, what is number 3? This
Number
is starting to get a
3.
little concerning.
This one gets a little bit more fun. So some people...
Fun as in people are going to
hand-crank-
be aroused by, or fun as in, like, what the fuck
Possibly.
are we looking at?
Hand-cranked is one thing. Steam-powered is another. So what we've got here... This is around that era, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so what he's got here is it's like the modern day the pistoning dildo machines, but it's got a steam
It's got a steam
boiler in the
engine.
back.
It's a boiler, yeah. It's a boiler in the back.
It looks like it should go inside of a train, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a train version of a pulsating
Steamboat Willie.
Brilliant. Yes, it's Steamboat Willie.
Alright, what's next?
Final item. This one, it requires 2 to operate.
Like a boyfriend girlfriend type thing?
I suppose, if the boyfriend's into this sort of thing.
Oh, now I'm excited.
But typically, I think at the era, it was really designed for 2 women.
Okay.
It's a simple seesaw.
What?
One person comes down, the other person goes up, and there's a hole in the seat with a dildo on either side. And you kind of operate it by going back and forth.
So you have to be in tandem love fucking
of
some sort.
It's a tandem device.
If I ever see that at a playground, I swear to God, I'm burning the place down.
I would not blame you.
Mental institutions, you know how they would give women like therapy and make them.
That is why the vibrator was invented.
Yeah, I wonder if that's from that. Cause
it's like dual, like a 2-person therapy session.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of the chair from Burn. I think it's Burn After Reading.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. It's
yes.
like that, but for 2 people.
Brilliant, but it's for 2 people. Yeah.
I think that's the least romantic thing you could do in sync with someone you love.
It depends on the relationship you're in. You know?
See?
I'm not
Good
gonna
point.
cash the shade.
Yeah.
Good point. It's like typically you could be sitting there looking at a situation of you always just like go at your own pace. We have to go at each other's pace now.
Yeah.
This is us fucking
This is about
together.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a fun new way to liven things up in the boudoir or whatever.
Or in
And
this
if it
case, it
doesn't
looks
work,
like
you
in
have
the
a good
living
story.
room.
Yeah, you have to
That
keep
also-
that somewhere. Like, what if you're?
That looks like you
Some
could convert it
questions.
into like a
obviously
decent
at
end
the
table.
time, at the time you need a sex dungeon.
True. Oh, that's true.
You know,
could
and
just
that's
lock it up.
obviously the kids aren't gonna get access to that.
I have acknowledged on many occasions that I would like, when I get my own house going, I would like my own, this is the room we do sex in. This is the room we eat food in. This is the room we bathe in. There's a distinct difference where we bone. But then knowing reality.
Sex dungeon.
I don't think dungeon's not the quite word. I think.
You're not
Like
looking
a
for a
playroom.
dungeon.
The playroom, yeah. Oh wait, no, wait. We just went 50 Shades of Weird, didn't we?
50 Shades of Weird. The playroom.
I love all the memes that came from that, by the way. Like when he opens a door and it's it's got a Beanie Babies everywhere, or the one that's like he just has it's just like a kid sitting in the middle of the room with like an NES. I love all those variations.
Yeah. I think playroom is appropriate.
All right, so there's 4 of us on air, and there's 4 items here. Let's all take a vote. Which all do we think is the most practical out of those 4?
Most practical.
Hand crank
That's
vibrator.
probably the most practical.
See, I think the downside is you'd have to switch hands because it's also a workout long enough. Because if you have some endurance, you're sitting there holding with one hand and cranking with the other. So that takes a lot of work.
That's true.
You'd have to switch it up. It's a workout and a half, which it should be when you're doing such a thing. So we have 1 for the hand crank?
I think 2. I feel like
That's probably the most practical.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think you could argue the last one could be turned into a nice console table or end table if you cover up the right parts or turn the dildo attachments into lamps.
Or bookends.
I actually thought that if you didn't want anyone to see it, you just put lampshades over the dicks.
Yeah. So it just really depends on what you're looking for, what's most practical for you. Definitely not the first one you mentioned with the
anti-masturbation.
Yeah, that's not practical. It's not good.
Practical.
Yeah.
And it's the kid's gonna do it anyway.
And it just
really.
scare visitors to your home.
Yeah.
Or invite
They're like, what is this cable running from your son's bedroom into your bed? What is?
And why is he crying so thoroughly?
I'm definitely more concerned about the mental health of the parents doing that and the mental health of the child than of.
Can I just note that I'm glad that all it did is made a bell ring
That's
as opposed
true,
to
yeah.
redirect a current?
Right. That's another. That's.
And I think I've seen an image online somewhere of which what I assume what you meant when you said the anti-masturbation device. It's like a chastity belt for dudes with spikes built into it.
So that way, if you
yeah, which makes me sad.
I actually did see a row of different kinds of chastity belts at this one location. It was not really a museum. It was one of those castle dinner type theme things.
Okay.
And they had this one section of chastity belts, and they had 12 different variations of female chastity belts, and it's just the one for the dude, which basically was just like a jock strap with nails going towards the dong, and it scared me. But then I was wondering, why did they only think of that for the men, but they thought of so many different variations why women, or how women can't have sex?
Because women are filthy, filthy harlots, and when we have sex, it's bad.
Oh, for the record, I did not know that harlot was a bad word until I was a teenager.
I didn't know it until like a year ago.
My grandmother was not originally from this country, so she said harlot to anyone she thought was pretty. And I mean, we're talking like anyone she thought was pretty. She had a really good open mind about someone dressing fancy or anyone who's younger. She's like, I wish I could be a harlot again. All kinds of stuff. So I went to high school, and my sister moves in. And she comes out, and she's like the first week of school, and she lived with us. I didn't know I had a sister till I was 16. And she's like, how do I look? Do I look ready? Are the kids going to pick on me? And I was like, you look like a harlot. Okay, thanks for that. And like she just kind of responded very calmly, like, thanks for that. And she goes in and she changes. Like, why'd you change? You said I look like a harlot. Like, yeah. And she said, do you know what a harlot means? And this was like a really like we were still on rocky start, being like the new siblings in the first place. That didn't help nothing.
No.
Oh well. So are you sticking around for the rest of the episode, Professor, or are you going to go be a harlot?
I got another 20 minutes.
Dirty. We've got another 10, so
perfect.
You're welcome to stick
out.
around.
Yeah, gladly.
So the ladies kind of have been talking about their projects and all sorts of stuff, and we've talked about dick things that you brought on.
Dick things.
You really are a filthy pervert, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can only bring up these things on your show. It's not so PG-13 on my stuff.
Actually, someone asked me if I had a rating system for my show, and I just said yes. They said, what's your rating system? Pause. Yes. Well, is there anything bad or inappropriate on any of your shows? Yes. Is there anything I should avoid because it might offend me? Yes. What was great is everyone asked what my show's about. I said, I don't know. Who's going to be on with me?
Yeah.
It's a show about everything. So it's about everything. This time it's about awesome comic creators. It's about feminist mindset. It's about
why we need feminism. Because of anti-masturbation devices.
Why we need feminism. Because seesaws.
Right. And like let's look back to the list. The one that was specifically for dudes was to stop them, but you had 3 that are specifically made for ladies so that we could be liberated. Guys should be liberated too.
I actually do have a stance on this.
Ooh.
You go to an adult toy store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see just walls upon walls of so many people putting, like, we're talking like engineer geniuses putting details on how to get women off more effectively. And all this little strip of toys for men, which essentially is just another hole to put it in. There's not the engineering science going into the dude sucks.
Yeah.
Not much creativity there.
No, it's like, here's a hole. Here's a hole.
And
Here's a
it's like
hole.
part of
There's
it's
a hole in the market.
Oh.
Yeah,
I should take the recording of that, and that's like my new ringtone. There's a hole in the market. But no, seriously! Come on, world, get it together. You can get us off as equally crazy and weird. I mean, what's that weird one with like the pearls that spin? The thing gyrates. Like if you turn it on, this vibrator you turn on upright and just set it on the counter, the thing will probably dance like the toaster from Ghostbusters 2.
I think I have seen like more creative stuff aimed at dudes, but there's like I think it was called the fuck box that you're supposed to put your dick into it and then it does the rest of the work for you. And the person reviewing
that would scare the shit out of
the
me.
person reviewing it was terrified.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. Not surprised.
Yeah, and so I think like a lot of it comes back to the shitty stereotype. Like guys prove their self-worth by having sex, and women prove our self-worth by not having sex. So we need sex toys so we can have sex with not guys. But guys don't need sex toys because you're supposed to have sex with women, but women don't have sex. That is bad. Also, I don't understand slut shaming, because if you want to have sex, like, who are you going to have sex with?
Exactly. The whole system's up on its head doing the wrong thing. Which is stupid thing about the whole, like, sex toys are for masturbation only. It's like, I'm sorry, shouldn't couples use toys in bed together for various purposes as well? Are you just going to get bored in 5 years and decide we're just going to stop doing this or something? I mean, I honestly didn't really understand the concept. I didn't think that these were all masturbation rooms that you go to buy masturbation tools. I thought,
Maybe another room for your house.
There's the playroom, and then there's just the self-love room.
So why does the playroom have like soft, cushy beds, but the masturbation room just plastic tarps everywhere? Well,
There's plastic tarps everywhere and a hose hanging out the walls straight down.
clearly we're too lazy to try to go get laid for the playroom, so we're too lazy to clean the masturbation room. We just roll it up, throw it out, and roll out a new one. But no, really, there's so much science. Actually, no, Professor, you recently just stuck your hand in a garbage disposal recently to fish out 2 bottle caps, which I'll admit flat out, I was like, no, that's all you.
Yep, he left immediately. And so to do that, I had to close the door so I knew if someone was coming and, like, watch the switch for the garbage disposal while I'm reaching in. Nerve-wracking.
Now, this experience you described here...
Chopstick. I've used that.
The problem is I'm not good enough at chopsticks to get a bottle cap.
Yeah, you were just eating Doritos with chopsticks earlier. So.
Yes, but those were Doritos that I could see.
Okay.
The garbage disposal has those flaps.
So for the record, the entire description he just gave of him reaching into the garbage disposal to get the bottle caps, when you described the quote-unquote fuck box, that's all I'm thinking of.
You're sticking your dick into something that you don't know what's in there.
The actual thing and send you a link.
No,
but
please don't.
It was
Please don't. I
terrifying.
love the fact that it's called fuck box to me.
Okay.
And if you send me the link, I'll look at it and be like, oh, that's the fuck box.
Okay.
From now on, that's going to be the fuck box. In fact, I think they're going to have to add a hashtag when they brand their shit now because of this.
The fuck box.
The fuck box. Quick announcement to all the listeners. We had an incident. We were just talking earlier about this, actually. So I know a lot of you have been talking on the social medias about how now there's only 8 episodes, the most 8 recent episodes. And no, I didn't get tired of them and think it was shit and get rid of them. Chimi actually got hacked by some weird dude from a Russian IP address, and the episodes are gone. We are going to be bringing back all that we can. I cannot guarantee at this point that the first 12 episodes will be back. It is still, I guess, something we'll work on, but for those of you who love sharing our shit, we'll bring it back. If you want to listen to the old stuff, we'll bring it back. Sorry for the inconvenience. Please don't stop listening to me. Tell your parents to listen as well, because I love to offend them.
The episodes are just going to get better from here anyways.
Yeah. Or something.
Or something.
I'm running the show. I can't guarantee quality. I apologize.
I'll guarantee quality for him. You can talk to him if it's not good.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Oh, and they should just go to your show if it's good then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and now go to Professor Elliot's YouTube channel and unsubscribe.
Wait a minute.
Leave nasty comments. No, don't do that. Yes, do that. So I guess we have a little bit of time left to go round about. Let's go back really quick, like about the websites that we threw out there, which will be in the links. Give us a list of websites to send everyone to for the various things. Let's start with people who want to submit, since that's the thing that's kind of got a deadline right now. It's
ladybugcomics.org. If you scroll down, you'll see information about the manthology, and there's a submit and a more information button. Mm. I'd suggest hitting the more information button first. That way your submission's more likely to be accepted. Mm-hmm. And that's where you can also find a link of the Ladybug anthology that came out about a month ago. It's great. Wide range of stories. Barbara Kiesel, who edited the Dark Horse Star Wars comics, and Watchmen edited these comics with us.
I remember when Dark Horse was doing it, especially when they did the Heir to the Empire one. Oh, yeah. that was one of my favorites.
That was partially credit to Barbara Kiesel, who's an amazing editor.
All hail.
Everyone had nothing but good things to say about her. It was a really great experience, and she took good comics and helped us make them great.
Sweet deal, yeah.
And so you can find out how to buy the Ladybug anthology and submit to the manthology. Mm-hmm. And there's also, if you go through it, you can see more information about Ladybug members, including links to our personal websites. That's how you can find a link to bountyhunterspacebesties.com, my brilliant and hilarious webcomic.
No biasness there at all.
No, it is perfect. It is just the best comic ever.
Ever. Of all time. And is ever going to be.
Start reading that.
Yeah. Anything else?
Guerrero comic?
Oh, yeah. We're going to have guerrerocomic.com, but for now, it would probably be best to follow me on Twitter since my websites haven't launched.
Twitter?
So my handle is @MzRubay, MZRUBAY.
Cool. And then my Twitter handle is @thehipchip, THEHIPPCHIPP. My last name's Hip, my first initial C, and I like making puns about the word chip.
Okay, so, I was about to acknowledge I'm going to dig into you on this one until there's a full explanation, but you got it covered.
Every social media account I have has a different pun about Chip, and I've learned that it's embarrassing at the end of a podcast to list off, like, Chippendale's Chip Chopapopolis, Chippendale Rescue Ranger. I just know. So Twitter. Twitter's good.
This was actually probably the best podcast to do that on, though. Well, cool. And you can follow Professor Elliot at the unsubscribe to Professor Elliot at...
Excuse me? Professor Elliot. You search for it, you'll find me.
And unsubscribe. Well, I think that's kind of the time wrapping up here. But thanks, ladies, for coming on. And thanks for sharing all your projects with us. This has been fun. And we got to talk about comics, which are things I actually care far more about. Wooden dicks, especially ones with electrodes on them, you sick... I'm just going to pretend you invented that, by the way.
Okay. Seems acceptable.
Anyone listening, thank you so much for chiming in. Again, if you're new, thank you for choosing this episode to come in on. I will cheers my drink to you. Again, no beer this week. We will bring something in sometime soon to share with you. But and we got some fun little mixy drinks that we're going to be playing with, too. I think we're going to have to do that other one in about 2 weeks. If you're a fan of Archer, you might be able to think about what we're talking about here. If you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your pets. As always, I'm your host, Christian, and may the awesomeness be with you.